My world, which is the sports world, will essentially disappear. Well, let me tell you something. If there is anything that goes on with this man, Luke Ford will be all over it. Luke, author of LukeFord.net. Luke, good morning.
Good morning.
You're with Brett and TJ. Welcome to the program.
Good to be here.
All right. Now, I don't know if you're aware of the website, TJ, LukeFord.net, but Luke has been all over and ahead of him in many regards. I'd like to start with the mayor. Now, you actually had this during the year, didn't you?
Yes, I broke the story on January 29th that the mayor's marriage was over, and a few days later the Los Angeles Times published a very firm denial from the mayor saying that the reason he hadn't been wearing his wedding ring was that he'd lost weight and had to have it resized. And then a few months later we find that his marriage was indeed over, and his wife is filing for divorce, and now we've got the Myrtle Salinas, who looks like she's going to lose her job from Telemundo for having an affair with the mayor, and we've got a lot of very skeptical reporters who are pushing the mayor a lot more than they have before.
Well, from what I understand, the Telemundo reporter is not the only person that the mayor has spent time with. Is that correct?
Yeah, the mayor doesn't seem to be one given to monogamy. He has children from 3 different women, and now the press corps just don't believe him anymore when he talks about that Myrtle is the only one he's been with for the last 18 months. So there are eyes on a lot of other potential women, and if he's turned out to have given jobs to some of the women he slept with, then we're definitely in a very sticky wicket for the mayor.
Isn't that the issue now? I mean, when you get into areas like this, speaking as a mainstream media, it's very difficult. Someone's personal life is personal until it impacts either their job performance or, as you say, when they start doing some things that might not be considered so pathetic, like giving someone a job because of the relationship.
Right, Los Angeles.
In that area, do you not? Because you're doing a blog, and there's not as many checks and balances as someone like yourself, other than accountability and whether people are going to go to your site.
Well, there's the checks and balances that I use my real name, that I go out into the world, that I meet people, I have a phone number that's publicly listed, and that if I get something wrong, I can be sued just like anybody else, and I have been sued, and I have to maintain advertisers to earn my living. My blogging is not just a hobby for me, it's how I've made my living for the past 10 years.
So you have been sued in the past?
Yes, I've been sued 5 times, which I believe is more than any other blogger.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And how many of those have you lost?
One, my insurance pushed me to settle, and that was it.
Okay. Now, I want to get to some of the other things in your background here, but first of all, the mayor, reading your site, 2 of the things I found interesting, which are tidbits, which no question are interesting, is that Marcella, according to your website, donated to a different mayoral candidate back in 2001. That would have been before she met Antonio, is that correct?
Yes, and she also admitted to having affairs with Fabian Nunez, the Speaker of the California Assembly, and Alex Padilla, who's now a California State Senator, so she certainly seems to have a yen for Latino politicians.
What have you learned about her, Luke, and her background, and why it is that the politicians seem so attracted to her?
Well, politicians are just like other men, except that they have the opportunity to do something. I think there are a lot of men who would like to sleep with Myrtle Salinas. It's just that power is about the biggest aphrodisiac for women, power and fame. And so, as a reporter, she has access to these men, and she's learned a way to get special access.
Well, is that you think a part of? I guess how do we know unless you talk to the people? Is this something that she does to get ahead in her job, or is it just something that she likes she's attracted to power?
I think she's attracted to power. I think most women are very attracted to power. Just like men are attracted to breasts, women are attracted to power.
By the way, I love this other note, too, that you said that, or suggested the mayor went underground for 5 days while Hillary sent in her husband's emergency rescue squad.
Well, yeah, the mayor is the co-chair for Hillary Clinton's campaign for the Democratic nomination, and so Hillary is certainly familiar with these types of problems. She knows the advisors to call on to try to paper them over.
Has she been harmed by this, or does it really matter?
It definitely hasn't helped her, and if one more affair is confirmed and goes public, then Antonio's position as her co-chair is is very much in doubt.
Do you think that will happen? Will there be another?
Yes, I believe there will be another one confirmed.
And do you know who it is?
No.
Well, does it matter? Here's my point. From a mainstream media, and I don't know the answer to this question, will they report it because unless it is involved with someone, again, the only reason this one was reported, I would think, is because it was a journalist who there's a conflict of interest.
Yes, they'll report it because the whole dynamics of the mass situation has changed. Very few people want to write about somebody's marriage and their life like this, but that border was breached. Now, one mayor is shown to have spoken falsely about his marriage. Now, reporters are a lot more skeptical and they're a lot more aggressive. This had been New York. The news of the mayor's infidelity would have broken 2 years ago when he was campaigning for office.
Sure.
But the Los Angeles media is much more respectful of people's privacy than the New York tabloids.
Now, you've got, like, an unbelievable background. I mean, you're a weird cat in your own right?
Thank you.
I mean, you doing the blog on the porn industry, and you consider yourself anti-porn or someone who reports on the porn industry?
I just consider myself a reporter. It doesn't matter whether I like or hate the mayor. It doesn't matter whether I like or hate pornographers. It's a story, and try to follow it wherever it goes.
Apparently, we're not enamored with your work, right?
Right. They hate me.
Oh, I guess that describes it. But if you're covering the industry, why would they hate you?
Because I've written a lot of things that have been very damaging to them. For instance, I break the news of a whole string of HIV infections in the industry, which has brought a lot more government scrutiny. The industry and regulation is hanging over their heads, and they're very concerned about government regulation. It's a very insular world. They feel very persecuted by the outside and very suspicious of outsiders. And normally anybody who spends any amount of time with them to report on them immediately becomes one of them. So the idea that someone would hang with them but still remain dispassionate in their reporting is not something they're used to.
So, Luke, your dad was according to your bio, was a noted Seventh-day Adventist, and then you've converted to Judaism after exploring atheism.
Yes.
That's a mouthful. I mean, that makes you way out there in some sense because you've obviously spent a lot of time in your life exploring things.
Yes. The search for meaning.
And you found it?
Yes. Belong to an Orthodox synagogue today, and pray there every day, and it gives me the structure that my life so desperately needs.
Well, shalom aleichem.
Thank you. Aleichem shalom.
But even in that, according to your bio, you were thrown out of a couple because of in the porn industry, they didn't see that you were just taking a straight line approach.
Right, my writings are very controversial within the Jewish community. I've written a lot about Orthodox rabbis who are also sexual predators. There are rabbis in Los